Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dope People podcast, where I let you inside my world. And today, well, you just missed this whole phase pre-recording where I've literally been searching for a place to record for about like a good 10, 15 minutes, asking myself where to film from. And I find myself in the most random places. So I considered many options, like taking into consideration different factors, light, sound, distractions around, and mostly my level of comfort. And well, I found myself here, um, seated on a freezer in my parents' garage. What I appreciate about this is that I get to sit in like yogic stance, like seated in the lotus posture. Maybe that's what it's called. And I get to look outside because there's some windows. It's a bit too cold for me to sit outside right now. And then I was considering the sound of the freezer itself because it does this little like sound. But I realized that I kind of like it. Like instead of being annoyed with it, I figured that, well, hopefully you can bear with it as well if you hear it at all. But I I figured that I would just accept it. I feel okay with this chosen spot today. So it's gonna change all the time according to how I feel. So today I'm in this space and it's really connected with the topic that I actually want to talk about because there's something that's on my mind today and I'm gonna hold my laptop for a bit. Um, and apologies about the sound as well. I'm gonna get a microphone and all the good stuff eventually. It's just for now, we're doing what with what we have. And this is what we have. So this is so funny because it's really tied with the topic that I wanted to talk about today. And it has to do with having to spend time alone, to be in my own space. And what's funny is that prior to recording this, my mom and I were in the kitchen and she was on her lunch break. And there's people in the backyard today just looking at the distance of the field and kind of establishing lines of where our territory starts and where somebody else's territory ends. So actually, this is a pretty good reflection of what we're going to talk about. And what's also funny is that my mom, who's having her lunch break, is being her flow is being kind of altered and influenced by these guys out there, strangers, just doing their job because she wants to let the dogs out, but she doesn't want to do it when the strangers are there. And I'm kind of not, well, I was going to say not waiting, but maybe I am waiting a little bit because, well, first, my mom's on lunch break, so I kind of want to spend time with her. And I get I get self-conscious if I'm recording, thinking about like being aware that somebody is hearing me record and talk by myself. I feel like that sounds strange. So I rather just feel like I'm really in my own space, although she's gonna watch it later, possibly, and other people too, which is really funny. But it goes back to the importance for me of spending time alone and feeling like I'm in my own world so that I can bring what is of me. And it's a funny dance of finding harmony with all the parts of the puzzles that are around us. And by parts of the puzzle, I just mean like all the people and all the factors that we are coexisting with. So today, it brings me right here, seated on a freezer in a garage. And that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. um, where are you guys watching this from? By the way, I received some nice feedback from some family and friends. So thank you. Thank you for the ones who listened and devoted your attention to this um, stream of ideas where I just kind of share what's going on in my mind. I really appreciate you. And I think it's pretty cool. If there was some value in this for you, it makes me happy that it could serve any purpose. But my work here lies a bit deeper than that because I'm doing this as a practice for self, right? I'm showing up publicly so that I can show myself that it doesn't matter what people think. And that's super important. Um, I learned to spend a lot of time by myself when I was living in Thailand. So remember, or for the ones who are not aware, I was living in Toronto with my partner at the time, and from that point, I left everything, including my puppy, who now lives with my parents and is like living the best life, and I'm reunited with him now. So yeah, shout out to my little boy Tito. Um, and I really learned to be with myself and find comfort with everything that I feel and um, being okay with being alone. And that is not necessarily something that comes easy when maybe we're not used to it, and maybe there's a lot of discomfort within ourselves that we haven't actually sat with because, well, we're very profound beings. We're humans. We have experienced so much in this lifetime already, and every experience has been kind of repertoire inside our bodies unless we've let go of everything and we come here as a blank canvas. But that's pretty rare. For the most part, when we show up with memories and we're carrying stories with us. So that takes up space. And when you spend time alone, you get to really look at these stories and kind of do a cleanup and analyze which ones are still current, are still true, and are still useful. So here's the thing about stories is that, well, they're made up. They're literally made up in our minds with our imagination. And they're all based off of our experiences and the way we've interpreted those experiences when they happened. And I mean, two different people can go through the exact same experience and have a whole different story of how it was and what that meant to them. And I think that part of our work is to reconnect with the artist within us and take whatever memory we have and rewrite a story around it that is going to serve us. So that's something I've been playing with. Even now, as I find myself just feeling a lot more than I used to in the past years, like physically, energetically, I'm a lot more sensitive than I was, let's say 2 years ago. Maybe a lot of you can relate with this. And sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Like, let's say your heart is racing, or your hands are shaking, or um, you're feeling nauseous. There can be so many feelings that we tend to resist. And I try and create a story around it that is going to serve me best if I feel the need to create a story. For example, if my heart is beating really fast, I can say that I'm anxious and that I'm losing control of my body. And that would create even more anxiety. Like, for example, when I was in high school, I was so terrified of reading out loud in the classroom. Like, I was terrified. Just to give you an idea, I was carrying a water bottle with me to all my classes, and I had this specific strategy that I was using every single time. When the teacher was about to name somebody who would read out loud next, I would start drinking my water, thinking, if I'm drinking my water, they're not going to call me out. They're not going to pick me, you know? Like, that would be kind of rude. I'm drinking water. Come on, pick somebody else. But it worked a lot of the time. At least I thought it did. That was my story. But that just gives you an idea of how uncomfortable I was, because I was feeling my heart racing, and I really had a belief that I didn't have control over my body in that time, and I was I was having a hard time just sitting with these emotion, and it was a whole mind thing, you know? So that was definitely something to just go through, and it was very valuable experience. But it just goes to show how the stories we create inside our minds really alter how we feel. And today I had a story about needing to be in a space where no one can hear me, so that I'm comfortable expressing in front of a camera, so that I eventually upload a video that can be seen by all. It's a bit of a funny story, kind of funny. But then if I'm out exploring, I love taking out the camera and recording, because I get to share moments of adventure, and I love that. I It's part of the explorer archetype within. All right, I'm gonna put the laptop back down for a second. So yesterday, I talked about that whole sphere thing that I see a lot, and how I process experiences through the mirror effect. And we all do. It's just maybe we don't do it consciously all the time. But every experience, every encounter teaches us something about ourselves. And let me take a sip of tea. Mm, mm. Today it's a turmeric ginger tea. I'm I'm kind of recovering from a cold. My body is building antibodies. That's what's happening. Yeah, so I'm just getting stronger by the second. It's pretty cool. Mm. You guys hear it? The freezer? It's kind of like we're in a spaceship. Okay. So I wanted to explain how I understand the mirror effect. There's so many things to say about this. I don't want to be too complicated. The first thing is that whatever we experience is going to teach us something about ourselves. So, however I respond to a circumstance, a conversation, a moment, an interaction, is going to teach me something about myself. For example, if somebody leaves like a nasty comment on a video, how I respond to this, how I feel about it, how I receive it, is just pointing to me what I hold within myself. So if I was hurt by negative comment, for example, it shows to me that I'm still holding judgment against myself. And it goes the other way too. If my ego feels really built up by a positive comment from somebody, like, oh my God, they love it, and I start building this whole identity around external validation, that also points some sort of fragility within my being that is held in a structure that is not real, that's not eternal. It's not the essence. It's just a form. It can be undone. So whether I'm being praised or hated, there's the importance of finding stability within myself through all of the possible receptions of my being. However, this is received is giving me information about the other person. And then how I receive them is giving me information about myself. So here, what I have control over is first my intention with my expression. Why am I saying the things that I'm saying? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And I'm pretty clear on those right now. I'm doing this for myself, and I am doing it with love. I know that. And the other thing that I have control over is how I receive any feedback or how I choose to devote my attention when it comes to whatever follows this. Some people don't look at any comments, some people take the time to respond to everybody. I think it's just important to do whatever feels right to us, but also to be aligned with whatever intention we usually had in the beginning. And for me, my work revolves a lot around the releasing of judgment of self. So I think that there is a curiosity for me to see how the messages I convey are being received. And there's the practice of creating a distance between the judgment that others impose and how I respond to all of this. And then I learned to hold space for myself through all my responses, whether I feel hurt or whether I will eventually learn to really not give a fuck, which is like transcendence. I love that. If you can stay in your heart and act from a place of love and actually literally just not give a fuck about what people think, that was like the one quality I was looking up to in all people. When I see somebody just doing their thing and being so authentic with themselves, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. That's pure magic. Just you being yourself. That's so cool. And I've been looking at these types of people for a long time. I've been analyzing them. I've been I've been studying them, and I've been letting myself be inspired by that. And then it's through the time allocated to being with myself that I was able to strip away all the voices that I had ingested that were not of me. And it took a while to really clear those up. Like, like when we come here on earth, we're not judging ourselves. Look at a baby. Look at children. They're not judging themselves. They're so happy and playful. They're just having a time. Like they're just here for the ride. They're just having fun. And I can't see anything better than that to do at my time than to do the things that I love and have fun. That seems like the perfect way of spending time. So that's also a reason why I really look up to children. And I think that they are just so wise. Children are gurus, 100%. So when it comes to the mirror effect, we learn a lot about ourselves, but there's also this thing of when you start coexisting with more people, because now I'm living with my parents and I'm interacting more with others, well, you hear other people's thoughts, and I mean, it allows me to learn more about myself and how much space I can hold for all that we are and all that we feel. Because I feel very connected to, well, everything. um, I'm sure you guys can relate with that. And for me, what has been a really big challenge in my life was just that I was losing myself in all the reflections. Like I really was for many years. For many years, I tried and changed myself. I used to, for example, always straighten my hair. I straightened my hair for like 10 years, 15 maybe. And it was every day. And I was obsessing about it. Like it had to be really straight. And then when I realized what my natural state was, it felt a lot more authentic. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Um, and eventually, like that, you strip away and you start realizing what is yours of you, what feels natural and what doesn't feel natural. The mirror effect goes a lot deeper than that to me because, like, literally, science shows us that the way we see the world is an reflected lens. Like, we see everything turned like, I want to say inside out, but it's like backwards. So everything is like reflected, and we can understand a lot about our experiences when we understand the mirror effect, according to my observations. Maybe I'll expand a little bit more on that one later when it's like a little bit clearer to me as well. I'll give more examples at another time because I've been understanding my experiences like that. Like, how did I get myself in this situation? And then you kind of reverse, and then you see what need you had that you needed to integrate or tend to. But for the sake of today's video, let's just keep it at the importance of being alone, spending time alone, and figuring out what your thoughts are and what is not of you. And it can be really useful to ask yourself like where did it come from, when it started, and usually that started early on when we kind of started ingesting all those external validations and learning the ways to be accepted and loved, because ultimately it's all we need. We just want to be loved. It's so simple and it's so profound. We're just out here wanting to be seen, heard, and loved. And I am so honored if I get to remind anybody here listening that I see you, I feel you, and I love you. Honestly, like you matter so much. So when I spend time alone is when I reconnect with my own voices. And I don't mean to sound so schizophrenic, but just paying attention to what I feel. And that's how I learn about myself. So there goes the importance of introspection, at least for me. Time for tea. So I got some nice feedback on the last video, and that was really kind, and it was so appreciated, and it makes my heart really happy to know that anything that I've shared has had a positive impact on somebody out there. But I'm also aware and conscious of detaching myself from external validation so that I am the only one providing myself with the need that with the love that I am, the love that we are. Um, I was going to say the love that we seek, but I'm very careful with the words I choose because that is not the reality that I affirm. We are not seeking love, we are love. It is something to realize, it is something to know, it is something to be, nothing to accomplish. We are love. I believe that wholeheartedly. Hmm. What to talk about today? I think that was one of the most important things. Maybe I can show you a bit more of the ridiculousness of this moment because it is kind of funny. Okay, so letting you in on this going on right now. So first, my setup in this on this freezer. Oh, can I turn the camera around? I'm gonna move and show you this. So this is the garage, and there's some like little playful things here. There's a thing to paint. There's a cow and a ping pong table. Those are the three main things here right now. So I see things for play. I haven't used the ping pong table yet. I haven't used a painting thing yet, but I'm super excited. I asked my mom today where it came from, and apparently it was in dad's um my dad works in a shop, like he's a manager for a place that sells motorbikes and ski-doos and sea-doos and four-wheelers and all those kinds of toys. And well, that I think it's called an easel, the thing that you put the canvas on. It was in somebody's truck, in the back of their truck. They had just left it there, and it's been brought here. And I used to paint when I was a kid. I I mean, I always loved drawing, and in high school painting was just the art class was my therapy. I absolutely loved it. And I had a super inspiring art teacher that's left a beautiful imprint on me. Some of her words still resound in my mind, and they make me feel so good. Yeah, she's a beautiful person. And when I was taking art classes in high school, to be honest, I was too much of a perfectionist to even allow myself to fully express and explore. I was still doing the work and I love the art pieces that I've created, but I was um progressing in my work with a lot of hesitance. I was doubting every step because I was in such a mindset of doing things right or wrong. And it was a bit hard to tackle art this way. You can't really do it like that. Art cannot be right or wrong, but I think that it can be true. And it always stems from feeling. So I'm really excited about the possibility of exploring with that thing that holds a canvas. Yeah, and I want to just let loose and see what kind of creations I come up with. I also got myself a gift recently. I got myself an old school typewriter as a early birthday present, and I'm so excited to use it. I might have to return it and order a new one. I'm not sure. I have to YouTube about um, people who have ordered this specific one and see how they handled it and if they had any troubles because the letters are not all clear. But I'm very excited because I want to start sharing some of my writings, some poems that, like I said, are very special and dear to my heart. And I want to start sharing some words. So, talking of words and yeah, sharing poems. That was the first thing I did this morning. I was waking up around uh 7, had my alarm clock for 6:30, and I was still very tired. So I continued sleeping until like 7, and then words just came to mind. So I started writing in on my phone in the notes, and it was a reminder. It was a reminder linked to all these ideas that I'm currently twirling with. I don't know. Do you guys want to hear this poem? Do you want me to share it? If I have special requests for it, maybe I will. Otherwise, it's going to be in a different document at some point. But I don't know. I That's a question I toy with a lot, a lot. What do I share? What do I not share? I feel like not everything is meant to be shared. Not everything is of value to the collective. So I'm learning to discern. But I do know that these words, sometimes they are only for us, but I also am aware that a lot of people are going to resonate with my experience because we are so connected. So if it has value for me, it might have value for somebody else out there. So I'd be willing to share it. It might be a good thing. Yeah. I think that's all I wanted to say right now. I don't know how long I've been recording for, but if you listened all the way to now, I hope it wasn't too boring. I hope it was interesting. No matter what, I'm just showing up. I'm continuing with this practice. Um, let's see where I film from next time, what feels comfortable, how I manage this coexistence with other people. how I continue to bring my own knowings to this world without getting lost in the infinite mirrors that we are constantly surrounded with. And in the meantime, I am sending you all of my love, all of the blessings. I hope you have a beautiful day, that it's filled with more beauty than you could have ever imagined, and that you allow yourself to see the miracles of life around you. That is my wish for you. Sending you so much love. Thank you for being here. Remember, remember just how valuable your presence is here. So thank you for being here. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Love you. Peace.